I have got a really cool project to show you guys today.
Stick around and we'll get right to it.
Hey, welcome back guys. Jason, KM4ACK. Several of you have emailed and asked if I have seen Graywolf, and it's taken me 5 or 6 weeks to get around to looking at this project, but I've got to say, this is absolutely incredible. And I'm loving this new software. And I wanted to take you guys along today and give you a brief overview. Now, I'm running this on a Raspberry Pi 2W, I believe it is. I'm using a Digirig Lite sound card and just a Baofeng with a Signal Stuff antenna sitting on top of it. I don't have this set up as a Digipeater or an iGate or anything like that. I've just got it set up for RF. And speaking of setup, this has got to be by far the simplest setup I've ever done for APRS. I'll show you guys a little bit about that as we go today, and then I'll do a deeper dive video maybe in another week or so that shows you exactly how easy this is to set up. I will leave a link to the project down in the description below. For now, let's go ahead and jump over and take a look at the dashboard. Now, what you're looking at is the dashboard for Graywolf, and this is running in a browser, which is one of the really cool things about this project, because on that Raspberry Pi Zero, I've only got the light version of the OS installed, so it's super lightweight. No desktop interface because I didn't need it for this project. I am running this dashboard across the network on another laptop, my main laptop that I use here in the shack. But the dashboard gives us a lot of information just quickly at a glance. Starting right up at the top, you'll see that the receive is ready and the TX audio is ready as well. Now, right below that, what you're going to see is that green bar. That is a sound level bar. So let me reach up here to the Baofeng and just cut that audio down, and you'll see that bar drop. Now, there may be a little latency. That's just my network here in the shack. Let me turn that back up a little bit, and you'll see that bar go ahead and rise back up. Now, this Baofeng is a little touchy to try to get it to dial in, so we'll try to get it back to a reasonable level. I believe that should work. But it's really cool that you can set the audio level right there from the dashboard. And like I said, this is running across my wireless network here in the shack. Below that, it gives us some other information: packets received, packets transmitted, packets iGated, which I don't have this set up as an iGate. The uptime, which it's only been up for about 23 minutes right now. And then over there beside it, you can see the lat and long, because I do have a GPS connected to the Raspberry Pi Zero. Below that, you get a look at the last 20 entries of packets that it has either received and or transmitted. Now, next up, let's take a look at the live map. This is a map of everything that I've heard so far, well, over the last hour. Up here in this top left corner, you've got several different layers that you can turn on or off. So if we want to see just what I've heard direct over RF, I click that direct RX link, and you would see exactly what I've heard direct. If you don't want to see, well, I don't see any trails on here right now. As cars move around on the map, you will see a trail. And in fact, let's see, right here is one of them. If I zoom in to that W4 WFC, if I turn off this trail right here, you'll see that that trail disappears. Now, something I'm not seeing at the moment is any weather stations. I am having a little bit of an issue with the weather stations displaying correctly, and that's probably a browser issue with Firefox and not something actually wrong with the application. But as you hover over things, it will even show you the path that that packet traveled to reach you. And if we click on one of those, you'll see that it's saying via 4 hops. Now, I think this is a little bit off right here. I'm not exactly sure how it's counting hops, but that's probably only 2 hops for me to see that particular packet. And I think it's the way this NT4UX marks the packet before it forwards it on. I think that's what's throwing off the hop count, but I'm pretty sure that this is only 2 hops and not 4. But still, we get a lot of information on this map. Now, one of the things I want to play with that I haven't so far is I would like to play with offline maps. It has that capability, but right now I'm just using the OpenStreetMaps that's coming from the internet, and it looks like we just got a message. So next up over here in the left, I'm going to click on that message box. And let's see, yep, QRX has sent me a message telling me that I've got 3 waiting now. I think it might just not have heard an ACK. But you'll see all of the messages that I've had just since yesterday. And in fact, I want you to look at this one between me and Randall. And look at this. I mean, it's just like chatting in a text message application that you're used to kind of on your phone. So it's really, really intuitive, super simple to set up, and I really am digging it. Now, it's not perfect. There are a few things I would like to see in here. I'll get to that in just a second. One of the things, though, that it does have baked in already, they call it tactical chats. I know it as group chats, and I think that's the way it's labeled on most of your radios. So that took me a second to realize exactly what that was, but tactical chats are just group chats. So we have one set up here in Middle Tennessee that's SRARC. That's our club, and we use that as one of the APRS groups. And I just sent a test from my radio and then a reply from this just to see exactly how that worked and make sure that I did understand tactical chats were just a group chat application. Now, one of the things that I think could enhance this is to give it the ability to create bulletins and rebroadcast those on a schedule that bulletins that the bulletin should be rebroadcast on. Something else I would like to see is a station list. So I showed you guys earlier that we have this down here, and what I would like to see is an actual station list that I could filter and sort. Now, we'll show you we do have logs here in a second, but that's not quite the same. Something else, going to jump back to the map right here. It would be nice if I could click on a particular station. Let's take this W4 WFC. When I click on that, I wish I had a little button right here that I could click if I wanted to send him a message. That would just make it a little bit easier if I didn't already have an ongoing message with him. That would make it super easy to start a new conversation. And then the other thing that I would really like to see on this is the ability to right-click on this map and create an object. I think that would make this application a lot more valuable, but this is definitely a good start, and this is a very young project, so that may be things that the developer already has in mind. Now, let's go back over here. We've looked at messages. Let's take a look at the terminal. This is a way that you could call up a BBS if you wanted to. If that's something that's big in your area, you can use this to call up a BBS. Now, I have mine configured right now for APRS only, so I don't even think it will allow me to do this, but that is something you could do. Next up, we've got Actions. And Actions is pretty neat. I actually created one. I've deleted it since. But I created an action earlier so that I could send an APRS message from my radio to this system, and it would actually shut down the system. And that was just a quick bash script that I wrote, and then when it received that shutdown command, it would run that script. And it's pretty intuitive and pretty simple. It does have some one-time password credentials, and you can create new credentials. When I was doing this, I actually just turned off the credentials altogether. I ran it once, proved that it worked, and then deleted it so no one else could possibly shut down the station while I was playing with it. But you just give it a name, you give it a description, you can do a command or you can do a webhook. You can see an example right here of turning on lights. So if you wanted to hook this into your home assistant, it looks like you can do that. Gives you a working directory, a timeout, some arguments, and it'll tell you down here, keep scrolling down for more. Here's that security feature, so you can require a valid one-time code, or you could turn it off so that it would run without a code, whichever way you prefer that. And you could throttle that command. If you do have it tied into your home assistant, maybe you don't want to be able to cycle the light more than every 60 seconds or 10 seconds or, whatever it is. But this is kind of a cool thing to be able to tie APRS into other services connected to your home. I thought that was really, really slick. Now, logs are right here, and this is just a list of 100 packets right here in this. We can search for a station or a Digipeater or something like that if we need to try to filter that out. Now, below that, those are all your day-to-day kind of operations that you might use. Now, below that is settings. So AGW I turned on just so I could use that. Audio devices. This is where this application is really, really sharp. I don't think I've ever seen an APRS application that was as easy to configure as this one was. Right up here at the top, you've got this detect devices. I'm going to click that, and you'll see that it shows me the sound card and gives me an idea that that is recommended. This was so easy to set up. Now guys, I'll do another video and walk through exactly how we configure all this and how easy it is, but I would encourage you just go and check out the project if you're into APRS already, because it is super, super simple to do. Now, next up we've got beacons. It does have smart beaconing, so if you've got this moving, maybe in a vehicle, then you could enable smart beaconing. If not, you could just go up here to add a beacon, and you could have one that just beaconed on a timed basis. So either way you want to beacon. Now, channels is something else you're going to have to set up. This is the way you get it to interface with the radio. So I do have this one set up here to work with that DigiRig sound card and the little Baofeng HT that I've got hooked up to this system. Below that, we've got all of the Digipeater settings. Now, I've got this turned off. I did turn it on briefly yesterday, but it was pretty intuitive and pretty easy to get set up and running. One thing that I would like to see them do is maybe reorder some of the things over here in the settings sidebar so that it was more intuitive and just kind of walk down through the list as you were setting things up. I started from the top and started working down, and then it let me know I hadn't even set my station call. And you'll see that down here at the very bottom. We'll get to that in just a second. But that would be nice to just reorder this instead of alphabetical order, maybe the way you needed it as you were setting it up. General preferences, we can change the theme to, you know, a light theme or a dark theme. I prefer that dark theme. If you want metric units, you can put a check mark right here. I do have a check mark that says check for updates from GitHub. Now, I haven't seen one so far, but I've only been playing with this for about 24 hours at this point. GPS over here, I do have a GPS plugged in, and again, I click detect devices, and you'll see that it just automatically pulls up that GPS. So really, really easy to do and to get this configured. iGate, again, super simple. I actually had to go read the manual for this one particular thing because I couldn't figure out where to plug in my password, your APRS password that matches up with your call sign. Now, that's not some secret password. It's just a formula that they use, mathematical formula that they use to create a passcode, and it kind of limits who can get onto the IS servers. But Graywolf does this automatically for you. So once you put your call sign in there, it will just automatically configure that passcode for you. I'm not sure if that's the best way to do it, or if it would be better to have somebody input their passcode manually, but again, that removes some friction from getting this set up. Now, you also have a KISS interface. I did configure this one yesterday, and the reason I wanted that KISS interface configured is then I was able to take YAC and connect it over a KISS TCP port to get YAC talking to Graywolf. So you could literally, and the way I think I'm going to use this at field day, is you could allow 2 or 3 people to all connect to your instance of Graywolf, use the modem that's built into Graywolf, and still have their own call signs and SSIDs when they transmit it out. So this is pretty neat. So I did go ahead and configure this KISS interface yesterday. Now, maps, this is what I was telling you just a few minutes ago. This is where you can do the offline mapping. I didn't want to download a bunch of stuff from the developer server just yet. Every download costs money, and I thought I would just save that because I want to redo this installation just so I can film the entire process of getting this installed and configured. We've got some options rather for messaging. I've never seen this allow long APRS messages, but maybe some software allows for a bit longer messages than, say, your radios. Most of your radios are capped, I think it's 67 characters, but I'll need to read through the directions and see exactly what that long APRS messaging is all about. You pick your transmit channel right here and then your send path. If I was going to do this, I would definitely want mine set to RF only. Position log, that is where your log is located. So you could change that database, I'm assuming, if you need to. PTT control is another one. And again, this was super simple. Once the software realized which sound card I had and that it was a CM108 sound card, then it automatically pulled up this recommended for PTT. I didn't have to go mess around with any of that stuff. It was just point and click and it's configured. I'm telling you guys, this is the easiest thing I've seen. Simulation mode. This is a mode where you can, once you toggle this on, it will send nothing out over RF. So if you're trying to maybe set filters for your iGate, or you're trying to bridge channels, which we didn't even cover in this brief overview, this is a way you could test that without actually sending anything out over RF. So this is pretty neat that they've got this. This is basically a test mode that you can put the application in and do some testing without clogging up the APRS airwaves. And then finally, we've got the station call. You'll see that I've just got this one set to -1 for right now. And last but not least, we've got the about. So Chris Snell, NW5W is the developer of this. And he has really done a fantastic job. This tells you all of the updates and things, bug fixes that he's made in the software as of at least the last revision, and they might go back even further than that. I've not really delved into this page too much, but I just wanted to bring you guys along to let you know what I was checking out. I want to use this on field day and hopefully get at least a couple more folks to connect their instances of either Yak or maybe APRS Droid to this one modem that's run by Graywolf, and do that over a wireless network, not necessarily internet connected, but just network connected over Wi-Fi, and see if we can all use one instance of Graywolf. But I'll be following this up with another video, hopefully within a week or two, that shows you exactly how to install this software. And I'm telling you guys, it's super simple, and then walk you through the configuration that you would need for a Digipeater and an iGate. If you found today's information helpful, be sure to give us a thumbs up before you head off. We will see you guys on the next one. Until then, 7-3.